Hawaii Warriors head coach Eran Ganot drops back into marching madness as his squad won 10 of its last 14 games to put together back-to-back 20-win seasons for the first time since 2014-15. It was also the seventh consecutive winning season as the Warriors finished fourth in the talented Big West Conference. Coach, welcome back.
Glad to be back. Thanks for having me. Look forward to catching up.
Definitely. Hey, what factors were important for your guys turning the page from a 10-10 record and winning 10 out of those 14 in generally the second half of the season?
I think there's a bunch of factors there. I think the adversity we went through, finding an identity, sticking together. I do think the ball movement made a big jump. Guys started to play with more confidence. You know, you're always trying to find your group every year. We have a blueprint. But early in the year, we had a lot of guys competing for spots. We had to wrinkle some things. We had, obviously, as you know, we lost a player to an ACL. We lost our point guard for 5 games. And then it seemed like we found something in terms of the personnel on the floor, the ball movement, and the guys built confidence off that. I think a big part of it, too, was some of our newcomers. You know the deal. Early in the year, they're trying. You can never tell someone's true talents until they're in shape or comfortable. And even in today's age, you have some newcomers early on in the year, there could be some challenges, but they stuck with it. They made their biggest jump at the end of the year. You know, obviously you talked about 10 out of 14 and the shot, you know, to go to the championship game. So not where we wanted to be. Our goals are high, but I'm proud of the way the guys stuck together.
Once again, Hawaii has lots of stellar defensive characteristics. It's where you were able to hold three-point shooters to 30.8% overall this season. That's 27th in the nation.
Yeah, no, it's been I'm really proud of that. Like sometimes you can have a stat that is there for a year and gone for another year. And in a couple areas, we've been consistent. So it allowed us to weather some of our adversity earlier in the year. You know, defending the three is really a big part of the game, always, certainly in today's game. But top, like you said, 30 in defensive 3-point percentage, but also I think we've been 1 or 2 in least 3-pointers allowed over the last 5-6 years. So it's something we need to continue to have, but I'm really proud of that stat.
Your defensive philosophy and the keys to establishment in a season, do you change much defensively, or do the kids come in, you know, knowing what to expect and they can move on from there, and then it creates depth inside the attack?
Well, like anything, I said you have a blueprint to run a program, blueprint offensively, blueprint defensively, and then you wrinkle it for the strengths of your personnel. So that's why I'm proud of being really good defensively over the years. I think more than anything, we have a solid foundation. Big on communication. We're big on scouting. And our guys buy into it. Terminology, rock solid. We've mixed things up over the year with some zone, some press, depending on situations, matchups. But it's something you know, defense travels with you. And we've always been good. In several years, we've been elite. Like that trend to continue if we want to do what we want to do. But our guys have been really rock solid overall.
Yeah. Obviously, the transfer portal is, you know, it's the name of the game every day as we all look into it to see who's gone, who's coming, and all that. As you and your staff evaluate players out of the portal, is there any game plan for doing that you try to put together a team?
Yeah, it's a great game. It's an art. It's chemistry. It's the pieces have to fit together. And you know, I think just like I know the transfer portal has really increased clearly. But just like when you hire or when you recruit, you know, it's number 1 character, number 2 talent, number 3 investment. People want to be here. We've had great success with the transfer portal. And so you don't approach the transfer world differently than you would a high school player, an international player, a junior college player. And we've had from all areas. We've had guys from every level, from all over the world, different backgrounds. And Hawaii's been great for that. But I think the big thing is that, and when I say we've had success with the transfer portal, we had a player from Missouri become player of the year, a player from UCLA lead our league in scoring, you know, a player from Texas be an all-conference player, a player from Auburn be an all-conference player. And last year, our starting 4-man was at the University of North Carolina, and he was an all-conference player. So what's been consistent with those guys where they've been kind of pros, or they've been really good players playing behind pros. So they kind of get lost in the shuffle from really good programs, and they fit Hawaii, they fit our style. They've been significant for us. So while there's a lot of people in the portal, and we haven't had too many from our program over the years, but we brought in the right fits. We haven't skipped steps. We haven't panicked. We still believe in fit. But there are some guys who are under the radar, and those guys have all become pros. They just happen to be sitting behind some really good players. But that's been a blueprint of success for us too. We've not whined and complained about the world we live in. The landscape of college athletics has certainly changed. Rather, we've kind of thought, our mindset's been, how do we adjust to this by staying true to who we are, staying consistent with Hawaii in our program, and going from there.
6 seniors on the Hawaii roster, and I wanted to touch on a couple of those guys before we kind of move on to the 24-25 outlook. Justin McCoy, I remember him both at UVA and UNC, and of course he's one of the transfers. And then Bernardo da Silva was an excellent player for you, working inside, I think, with McCoy. McCoy could come out and tag the jump shot or the three-pointer if you needed him. Also, these were two of the top 7 rebounders in the Big West, and Da Silva led the league with a 60.4% percentage from the floor.
Yeah, I love those guys. I'm going to miss those guys. And one of the things with any program is you're probably going to lose some seniors every year. And then you just, and the reality of your culture is that those older guys show the younger guys the way, the younger guys become the older guys, and they do the same. And so starting with Bernardo, and Bernardo, Noel Coleman, Javon McClanahan, in this day and age, those 3 guys were here with us at least 4 years, Bernardo 5. And they're all over the record books for, the statistical categories. All of them had winning seasons, obviously. And it's going to be hard to, they're hard to replace. You don't replace those guys with the same guy. You try to, and then you hope the group replaces some of what we lost, and maybe we can make a jump in some areas. But Bernardo's a guy who came in, had some injuries, as we've talked over the years, early, hung in there and had his best years the last couple of years. Really proud of him, and earned his degree last year, actually. And then Justin McCoy, he's the prototypical, early in the year, he had to go through the stages of now playing more minutes because he was playing behind some really good players at North Carolina. And then performing and dealing with scouts, then being a guy we can play off of, like we can play through him at the elbows from 3 in the post, and then continue to emerge as a leader. He's got such great leadership to him, but you can't lead until you're comfortable with Hawaii, the university, the system. And so I think one of the big things that happened for us the second semester in our run was he became the leader of our team, and he became an all-conference player. It was a guy who could have been a first-team all-conference player, but future is bright for him, for both those guys.
I thought Juan Munoz and Noel Coleman were an underrated 1-2 punch in your backcourt.
Well, I think you could argue, and I know I'm biased, but Juan Munoz clearly is one of the best stories in college basketball, and maybe the best story. This is 8th-year senior, 4 season-ending surgeries, 3 ACLs, 1 Achilles, and usually those guys, and you wouldn't blame him, don't come back and try one more time.
Yeah.
Not only did he come back, and sometimes those guys come back, they play a couple minutes. He started for us. He was one of the best shooters in the league. Happy to see him go through his phases of limited contact, minute restriction to starting. Incredible. And really proud of him for that. It's such an inspirational story. Noel Coleman, similar to Bernardo, all over the record books. He transferred from University of San Diego, became a 3-time all-conference player, got stronger. Future is bright, super human being. We were blessed with a lot of that.
As you look to next season, I noticed Tom Beatty and Ryan Rapp are 2 keys who were top producers off your bench and certainly in your rotation. Talk about them moving forward, and what's the next step, and them being a solid part, of your rotation, your starting lineup.
Well, I appreciate you asking, because I think one of those reasons we were able to hang in, we had some adversity in the middle of the year, and maybe Ryan for sure, and Tom at times, it's easy to say, hard to do, but you got to do it. when you're playing behind guys, can you continue to have a good attitude, keep working and ready for your number to be called more? And those guys did that. And that's why they deserve all the success they had. And we ended up having more success because of that. Like I said, easy to say, hard to do, because everybody wants to play and we want them to want to play. But can you do what you can control in terms of staying ready? And when their number was called, they really helped us. You know, Tom Beatty, I think, was one of the better freshmen in our league. He's a big guard. He's a strong guard. He has obviously significant international competition for a freshman. But I think, you know, when you play 18, 20 minutes a game as a freshman, and now we don't play another game for 7 months, he
Sure.
goes into the offseason with the comfort in the system. And both those guys work really hard. Ryan Rapp was playing behind some guys early. You know, he had some injuries the year prior, had some mini breakthroughs as he fought his way back into the lineup, ended up starting for us. Again, another big guard, can shoot it long, can get in the paint, knows how to play. And those guys love the game. And so I'm really happy for them to be rewarded for continuing to stay ready. And that's something that will help them moving forward.
We were talking off camera here before we started. The Big West Conference, in my mind, is once again very underrated. I'd love to see some network pick it up and give it maybe 1 or 2 even games per week where you know what time they start. So, you know, you tune in. As you guys look at this, what is the next step in being able to see that happen inside the conference?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for our league. I mean, we've had great continuity amongst the coaches.
Yeah.
We've had great success and opportunities when we have the ability to bring more exposure to the league or showcase the conference. And, you know, I talk about the coaches. The league has done a really good job at developing young talent. And again, that's a credit to the guys we brought in and the staffs. Everybody's got great, like I said, great staffs across the board. It's been a lot of parity because you've seen different teams win the conference.
Sure.
And when we've been able to get in the conference and get a decent seed, you know, I know we won in 16 and Irvine had their game, won, I think, in 19. You know, Davis won a game. And once you get it's as you know, it's hard to get in, but once you get in, anything can happen, and different styles of play and things like that. And, you know, I think, you know, obviously it's been difficult for our conference to schedule. So sometimes, even though we're a top, I think, 15 league, it could move up if we were able to not always play so many road games as a conference. But in the meantime, I think, you know, we've had, you know, Dan Butterly come in as a commissioner and try to look at some outside the box ideas. And I think our league needs to continue to find ways to get into some of these MTs and find national exposure with some of those road games as well. Because I do think I agree with you. I think it's a really underrated league. It's a really good league.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, last question, Coach. Monday night, UConn becomes the first back-to-back winners of a national championship since the Florida Gators in 06-07. I really thought the Huskies guard play, and I thought going into that game was going to dictate pretty much everything, and it kind of did with Tristan Newton, Stephon Kessel.
Yeah, it was you know, 2 number ones going out in the championship game. And, you know, you talk about how rare it's been for back-to-back. And, you know, obviously they're going to go set their sights on 3 in a row. I think there's a lot of great storylines in the Final Four. You got, you know, the favorite in UConn. You got Purdue, who's got the player of the year. You got Alabama, who's really on a hot streak and really challenge you with their tempo. And then you got the team with a lot of momentum in NC State. So, you know, and obviously the game was close early. It's more a credit to UConn than anything with Purdue with the way they've just been playing. But obviously, like you said, you could talk about their offense. They're up there. Their defense are up there. They rebound. They have guard play. They can shoot it. They're clutch. They're experienced. They love the big moment. And all those pieces not just put you in a position to be a national championship, but one of the best teams in history.
Coach Eran Ganot, ladies and gentlemen, the Hawaii Warriors, out in a great state, somewhere where hopefully one day I can visit. Maybe during the season I can go to a couple of games there, Coach.
Come on over. You're always welcome.
All right. Thanks a lot, and good luck in building your team as a springboard into next year.
No, we're excited about it. Obviously, it's a big summer for everybody in the country with the new landscape. It always is, but we love where we're at. We love where we're headed, and we're looking forward to, like I said, 7 more months. We'll be tipping off.